then... Are we good? Are we good? Okay. Howdy doody, all you cutie patooties. My name is powerJAM, lowercase power, uppercase jam, all one word. And I have been asked to share my opinions on the Steven Universe movie. I made a critique about it on Twitter, and I think I gave it a 2 out of 10 because it really didn't sit with me, and that went over great. That was great. That was that would yeah, everyone was really happy with my rating, and they were super respective of my decision to say that, and I really appreciate and respect them for that. Anyway, so and one of the people was really nice, and they just said, "Could you elaborate a little bit on why you gave it a 2 out of 10?" And looking back, I think I might give it a little bit higher just because of what the movie actually does a little differently from the show. But I thought that was fair. I should elaborate a little bit more. I do try to keep my critiques fair and just based on my personal preference. That being said, if you actually really do genuinely think I am just watching this movie because I hate it and I just want to do, as the kids call them, hot takes and rake in those YouTube views, then please leave. This review is not for you. Okay, I'm going to try and keep this short too. I don't know how short I'm going to get because I do get rather heated and I tend to trail off, but I think I'll start with the things that I liked. I'll start with the things that I liked. Um oh jeez. Okay. Oh, okay. No, I really liked the new character Spinel. She was a really fun character. I really did enjoy her presence on stage. She had a really fun voice actress. Her animation was really fun for the very short time she was allowed to have good animation, because it was really only good for a little while, and then it just went back to regular Cartoon Network budget animation, which really wasn't good. Spinel was like the only character that had really good animation too, which is not a selling point. You can't sell. Okay, okay. See, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm getting off topic. So, like, I really liked her. She has the best song in the whole thing, bar none. All the other songs are really not great. That one song is really good. That one song that she sings with the electro swing is really fun. I really like it. And she has a nice gravity to her voice. And I'd also say that this is one of the deeper themes that they get into with the show. The show never really got deep into stuff. And as a result, the longer runtime gave them a little bit more time to actually stay with the villain and get to know them a little bit better. You get her backstory. You get to actually see her get close to her redemption, and then she gets a little too far away. She starts slipping, and then she slips, and then she lets a lot of personal dribble escape. Like, she just starts rambling, and it's actually a really nice moment. It really does feel like it just really feels nice. It's nice to have a character who just has that moment where they see the monster they've become, and they just, and yeah, when she's like, I don't know why I'm angry, but I am, and I want to take it out on someone, and why am I trying to hurt you? I want to be your friend. That one stuck. That one hit real hard. That one landed. That I consider most of the Steven Universe villains to be quite the absolute, like, pushovers once they get to this point, but she really did show off this vibe of she's just so vulnerable and so angry, and she has no idea what to do with any of these feelings. She doesn't know how to take care of them in a healthy way, and that's really indicative of what she suffered through. She suffered through abandonment and betrayal from someone that she was essentially enslaved to. I know they try to step away from slavery in this, because I think Rebecca realizes that almost half of her characters are like slaves. But, it's still slavery. They still gave a human being, a living creature, to another living creature as a toy, as a playmate. They say playmate all the time, but she's totally a slave. She's totally just a slave. I'm also going to try and keep this review kind of bullet pointed, because I am thinking about doing a much more a much bigger review of this movie, because again, I really like reviewing movies. I really love movies. And I had hope. That was the thing too. When people on Twitter were just like, "You really shouldn't. I'm so sick of people hating the show. It's time for you guys to move on. If you don't like the show, you really shouldn't be watching the movie, because it's going to be the same as the show. You should base your opinion on the show. You should base your opinion on the movie off of the show, because there's no way this movie show could possibly have any redeeming qualities to it." And I'm so glad I didn't listen to those narrow-minded idiots that think that, because I did end up getting some genuine joy out of this film. I wouldn't say it was great. In fact, I really don't think it's great. But I would say that this movie did provide something that the show didn't. And that would, yeah, when I went into the movie, I wasn't thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna hate it, I can't wait to hate it and tell everyone on Twitter that their opinion is invalid because I watched a movie." No, what I was hoping for was an ending that was better than the last episode of the Steven Universe TV show. Thus far. Apparently they're coming out with a new season. I don't even know why they would do that. They have now had 2 consecutive conclusions to this show. How many more conclusions are we going to fall for before we go, okay, now it's over? But I was really interested in seeing what this movie could bring to the table. And honestly, I'm not entirely sure if I would say this was better than the last episode. The last episode, at the very least, had Jasper in it. Was there really no reason for us to go down the list of all the gems that we know and love throughout the show? Jasper never made it in. Jasper's my favorite fucking gem, and they were just like, Rebecca has like such a hate boner for Jasper. Like, every time Jasper has a chance to come back, they're like, nah, I don't like her. I don't want her to be a part of my story. And I'm just like, I can't stand it. Can't stand it. If she came back in the series, I'd forgive it, but I really couldn't find a single reason why Jasper wasn't at least in the background, like eating an ice cream or something. And if she is in the background and I missed her, feel free to scream at me. But honestly, I couldn't. Okay, so I think I said the things that I liked, which were all of 3 things. So I guess I would probably, for the fact that Rebecca actually honed in and actually utilized the movie's length to make give the villain more than just one hurrah. And we did get some pretty cool fight scenes where, that was the other thing that I liked. Steven Universe just gets the shit beaten out of him, and I'm just like, thank you. Someone finally punched this stupid little kid. If it's not evident already, I'm really not a big fan of Steven. He's like my least favorite part of the movie now, of the whole show. Like, he's just everywhere. He's everything, and I know the first argument is going to be, it's the title of the show. He's the main character. Oh, that's fine. But you know what? Thomas the Tank Engine isn't in every episode of Thomas the Tank Engine. Like, come on, guys. We don't need to be with Steven every single time anything happens. Which will lead me to my other point. So this is everything that I don't like about the movie, because there's plenty that I don't like about the movie. One of the first things is that it didn't address at all the problem that every single moment of every single day we have to be latched on to Steven, and we just have to constantly be around him all the time, or else we might get lost. we might get lost and we might not know where to go if our Lord and Savior Stephen isn't here to tell us where to go and what to do. And like, it's so annoying too. He's like the leader now. It's like Garnet was always the leader. She's the way more capable. She has future vision. But no, 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 no. Steven has to be the leader. It is his show, after all. I came here for this. I didn't come here for the crazy space lesbians. I came here for the stupid little boy who wants to cry about everything. That's what I came here for. I'm just saying I would have really appreciated it if some of the other gems were just around and doing things without Steven there. It's just really frustrating how the story is written around Steven's presence in everything. And I still find Steven, I really can't stand, on the topic of Steven, I can't stand his voice. He cannot sing, he cannot sing any of the songs well. Every single time he hits a note, he doesn't know if he should go high or if he should go low. He has no middle ground, which is indicative of a lot of boys going through puberty, which is what the fucking voice actor is. He's like he's probably like 20 now. No, I'm just kidding. But still, I just don't, I just don't like any of the songs he's in. And he's in like 90 of the songs. He's like in all of them. Another thing, why doesn't Steven have facial hair? If he's 16, he should be getting at least a little bit of stubble again. Oh, but he wouldn't be cute if we gave him stubble. He wouldn't be adorable. He wouldn't be hashtag adorable. And Rebecca Sugar couldn't insert herself into the story via Steven if he had stubble on his face, because Rebecca Sugar doesn't have stubble, and making a really easily relatable main character is the best way to self-insert yourself. And I have a lot of problems with how this story is written, because it's written like a bad fan fiction. And I think at the end of the day, its writing is what really holds it back from being anything special. It's just an episode of the TV show, but with a slightly bigger budget and a way longer run time. It's just so... oh my goodness, it just takes forever to get from one point to another. Nobody, like, moves the plot along. They just constantly stop for these stupid songs. And it's written around the fact that the gems get their powers and memories taken away. Like, they're just useless now. And this is very indicative of fanfiction. Introducing the new goofy tag-along character. They don't look at all like they come from the TV show, but they're still part of the canon cast. All the main characters are acting silly and goofy, so that we can put them in silly situations, so that everyone can laugh and point at how their favorite characters are now acting like babies, which doesn't make any sense, because none of them were ever babies, because they were created to... oh my, I don't even know. But, like, it's just so indicative of, like, what I have come to expect from Steven Universe's, like, fanfiction-esque writing. Like, clearly Rebecca Sugar's favorite character is Garnet, and she's mentioned it before anyway. So she's just like, oh, I know, I will take her powers away, and then she'll have to reinvent herself again. And I can watch as my favorite character dances around as herself and acts all goofy and silly and goofy and silly and goof and whatever. And it's just so, like, Rebecca, please just tell a story. Why do they lose their powers? What does that do for the story? Realistically, think about how that fits into the story. Think about any other story where something bad happens. Like in Toy Story, where Buzz falls down the stairs and he loses his arm. And he busts, and he, like, breaks, and he loses his arm. What did that add to the story? It added the fact that Buzz Lightyear is coming to terms with the fact that he is a toy. This is a total world view change for this character. He goes into a state of utter depression, of self-worthlessness. He realizes that his entire life was a joke. He is a joke. He's embarrassed, he's upset, he's confused, he's depressed. He's 100 million different things. and then slowly through the process of time, he eventually becomes, like, he just figures out that there's more to life than that, especially for a toy like himself. In Steven Universe, them losing their powers, they're not even aware of it. The only person it affects is Steven. And in the end of the day, so the reason why they lose their powers is because Spinel brings the Grim Reaper scythe and turns them all into fucking babies, I guess. It's just Muppet babies. They just turn into the Muppet babies. Hey, it's me. Hey, it's me. It's me, Miss Piggy. And they just goof around for an hour. Hey, Skeeter, how you doing? And it's just like, that's it. They just lose their powers, and then they just have to get them back. Like, it's plot convenience. It's a plot device. We need to pad this movie out, and we need to find ways to put more songs in this movie. So we'll make them lose their powers, and then Steven has to sing them back into themselves. And that'll be great. That'll be perfect. Yippee. Everyone loves it when Steven sings, right? Steven has the best fucking voice in the world. Totally doesn't sound like Justin Bieber in his early days. Totally not. Not at all. Couldn't even put, like, auto-tune on any of them to make them more lyrical. It's like people are just reading off of the scripts. It's just very common for Rebecca Sugar to okay this. And just be like, yep, this is good. Everyone will love it anyway. It doesn't matter if it makes any sense. So, them not having any powers only affects Steven. And realistically, the only reason Steven wants them back is so they can help him figure out what to do with this big drill. And it's never explained where she got the drill. It's never explained why there's poison in the drill, how the poison will kill the planet, how the poison goes into the planet but somehow doesn't destroy the planet. I don't understand how anything happens. Nothing is explained. Everything's fine. There's just no problems. And again, the problem is Steven Universe brings up all of these end-of-the-world conundrums, and then they never get resolved in a way that would quantifiably make them okay. It's just, okay, it's a problem, but it's not a problem anymore. It's okay, bye. There's a cluster on the center of the Earth. Oh, we talked it down. Now it's one of our friends. Guys. It's okay. It'll never turn on us. Why didn't the cluster help? Why didn't Steven go, hey, cluster, you want to pull this big drill out of the ground? Nobody thought that maybe that might help, this big hand that was just sitting in the middle of the Earth? Nobody thought, hey, maybe let's call up the diamonds. Yeah, Steven says it once, but there's no reason why he doesn't do it. Hey, I'm gonna come up with an idea. Let's get the cluster and pull out the drill. Hey, I got another idea. Let's attack the drill and just break it. Why not? Who cares? Spinel broke it. Spinel broke the shit out of that drill and it worked just fine. You're trying to tell me that Bismuth and Lapis never thought to try and break the fucking thing? None of these people thought... I would understand if all the characters had no memories, why, like, the main cast wouldn't at least try to do it. I get that. Because they have no memories, which is a plot convenience anyway. And then, but, like, Bismuth and Lapis never thought, hey, let's just break the fucking thing. Did they explain it in the show? Because I don't remember them doing it. They're just like, oh, let's set up this little... Paradox, like, let's set up this laptop next to this big drill, and we'll just learn about it. We'll just learn it and do research on it. And then we'll find out, like, how dangerous it is. It's so dangerous. Look how dangerous it is, everyone. Let's be careful not to do anything rash here, guys. I've never done anything rash before in my life. Not me. There's also this really sick joke that isn't funny in the thing. Like, the continuity is so off in this movie. Like, Rebecca, I've always given perks to Rebecca Sugar and her team for keeping the continuity pretty steadfast for the most part. Because, you know, I can understand when your show encompasses a lot that sometimes it can be kind of hard. But, like, usually continuity things like, you know, like story bits and character bits are usually, like, at the forefront. With this one, she just fudged the whole thing and just made it about the musicals. And the characters have these horrible, horrible inconsistencies. Like, there's this part where they're just like, oh my god, Spinell tried to kill Steven. Oh, wow. So, naturally, all of these people care about Steven now. All of these characters. Because the script dictates that they all care about Steven a whole bunch. He's a good kid, I guess, but honestly, if I was part of the team, I'd say, I'm going to go out on my own and get away from Steven, and I really don't want you to come with me. Ever. You annoying little snot-nosed brat. But, like, I guess, like, for me, it's like they talk about how, like, they all hated and wanted to kill Steven, and, like, Paradox, like, man, it took me a couple of weeks before I stopped wanting to kill Steven. And I'm like, okay, that's not true. Are you talking about when you were, like, you still had your limb enhancers? Because when you still had your limb enhancers, you didn't really want to kill Steven. You just wanted to kind of get away from him. You wanted to get off the planet Earth because you were genuinely worried that it was going to explode with this giant monster inside of it. And as a result, you did. Like, you wanted to do that. You didn't really kill Steven. You never really wanted to try to kill Steven. Like, that's so fucking, like, dark and sinister. And completely there for shock value because it has absolutely no weight to it. You tried to harm Steven, sure, but you never really seemed like you wanted to kill him. And then Bismuth is like, it took me like a day to get over it. Like, you know, I only wanted to kill Steven for like a day. And quite frankly, I understand why. Like, his mom fucking locked her in a state of perpetual purgatory. And we'll talk about her. We'll talk about that stupid bitch Rose Quartz in just a minute. But, like, poor Bismuth was trapped in fucking limbo forever. Who knows if Steven had never stumbled into Lion's mane and accidentally unbubbled her, she could still be there. And her inclusion in the story just represents how narrow-minded the show always was about how great Rose Quartz is. Because she makes terrible decisions. Okay. Stay on this point. And I'm just like, okay, well, still, that makes sense. She wanted to kill Steven because, I mean, she's definitely a rash character. Which totally makes sense why she wouldn't want to just fucking break the giant drill. And then Lapis retorts with, I'm still kind of on the fence. And they all laugh about it. Like, Lapis never wanted to kill Steven, I don't think. I watched the show all the way from the beginning. He was her first friend. Her first genuine friend in hundreds of thousands of years. And she's jokingly talking about how she wants to kill him? How she isn't sure if she still wants to kill him? This character is a fucking monster. This isn't even bad writing anymore. This is just mean. And then they have the gall to, not only is it not in character, but it's also just fucking dark. And then they have the gall to sing this song about, it's like, Bismuth is like, you can't trust anybody but your friends, blah, 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 until the end, whatever. And it's like, one of my friends, quote unquote, just fucking threatened to kill me. Or at least extended the concept that she isn't sure if she wants to kill me or not. I don't think with friends like that, who needs any enemies, right? It's fucking, like, it's just the most fucking darkest shit in the world. Hey, my friend just told me, it'd be like if you walked up to a friend that you knew, like, casually, but you didn't know them super duper well, but you still thought you were on good terms, and they were just like, if I had a knife, I'd stab you, but I don't have a knife, so I won't stab you. If you have friends like that, by the way, don't hang around them. Get away from them. Just run. Just run. Just run forever. Oh, God. So, yeah, that was terrible. And that points out another problem that I have with Steven just not being, like, present for every other character. Like, in something like Codename Kids Next Door, all the characters have different factions and different units that they hang around in. And those units are all separate and different, and they all do things differently. There are some episodes that don't even feature the rest of the team and just feature on one of the main characters. And that makes you really grow to like those characters. You get excited when you see an episode that's just about the one character you like. And if you like Steven Universe, then you probably really like this Steven Universe, the character. You probably are going to really like this movie. Because it is just about him and nothing else. Spinel doesn't even really get all that much to do. But, like, the gems in the countryside, like Bismuth, Amethyst, Peridot, and Lapis, just, like, they cut to their scene, and it's just like, oh my god, there's a giant drill on the ground. And it's like, it must have been like 2 hours later. Steven just shows up and shows them the plot. And it's like, hey, look over there. It's something important you guys should have obviously known about beforehand. What were you idiots doing that you didn't see that monolith show up? It's a giant fucking drill that just landed on Earth. You don't have sensors for this shit? You don't have any kind of, like, aerial defense mechanisms that would have picked up on that? You don't have eyes? It's ridiculous. Steven has to stick around for everyone's subplot so they can have, like, parts in the movie. That was the same thing with the diamonds. At the very beginning, yeah, and this represents a lot about how great the show is, too. The diamonds are just, like, begging Steven to stick around. It's like an allegory. Please stick around. We need to be on screen. We desperately want to develop our characters, but we can't because you're not around. Please stay with us. But it's so fucking stupid, and I hate it so much. But, like, what a great, like, what a great feminist show. Like, I'm a feminist myself. I think women's rights are very important. I really want, like, fucking women's rights all the way. No, but in all due seriousness, I definitely consider myself a feminist, and it's not that I don't think that there's a lot of good feminist morals in this movie, but the problem, the first couple shots of the movie, the first time you're introduced to the diamonds, you see them begging and pleading on their hands and knees for this little boy to stick around and be with them forever. Like, there's just, like, does that not seem a little bit counterproductive to the message you're trying to send? Like, women are, like, all these women of omnipotent power, all they want to do is beg and plead for this little boy to stick around. They're literally on their hands and knees begging him to stay. Not because, like, oh, it's so lonely without you. It's not like we're three women that could easily do some character development on our own time. It's just so pathetic. It's just like, if you want to, like, have a feminist slant to your story, I totally understand that you want that. And I agree and think it's great. But, like, sometimes you have to take a step back from your work, and this happens with a lot of artists that don't, like, see what the greater picture of their work is saying about them, or about the story in general. But I think that's very indicative of the problem of the show. Why is this show that is so pro-feminist, the main character is a little boy? Why, if Steven was a girl, it would be so much more, the narrative of the show is that Steven is worried that he is taking over the mantle of his mother. And then towards the end, it's like, oh my god, I'm not my mom. You know, that narrative would have worked a lot better if Steven was a girl. Because at least they would have the same gender. I know gender isn't a thing that is really important to a lot of people. And, like, I know Steven is a very, like, he's not an atypical boy, and I like that. I like that he's a soft boy. He's a good boy. I especially love him in the very beginning when he's more of a funny boy. He's just a good boy. He's just a boy. And, you know, that doesn't really have anything to do with his traits as a person. It's just, he's a boy, and that's fine. Connie's a girl, and that's fine. And gender is definitely not a super big deal in the universe of Steven Universe. But like there's something about the narrative of him worrying that he's going to become his mom that's really dumb because he's nothing like his mom. He doesn't look like his mom. He doesn't sound like his mom. He doesn't believe in anything that his mom does. It's just, it's so dumb. And speaking of his mom, let's talk about her. So I understand that there is still a group of people out there that think Rose Quartz is a good character and is a nice person and really isn't a bad person. Um, they're all very wrong. And the other thing that I will give this movie as credit is that they acknowledge how much of a huge cunt Rose Quartz is, because she is such a huge cunt. Like, just such an unbelievable cunt. Like, just grade A cunt. Like, just fuck her to the moon. She is such a terrible person. And they still never really address it, though. Like, they show it, and then they never talk about how it affects anybody. And then at the very end of the movie, everyone's just singing about her. Spoilers, Spinel was, Rose Quartz's, yeah, that's what she was. No, sorry, excuse me. Spinel was Rose Quartz's fucking slave, and then Rose Quartz just fucking abandons her in this garden and disappears because she gets tired of her, like she does everything and everyone else she's ever cared about or ever given a second thought to. And then Spinel gets angry because she realizes that fucking she was abandoned, rightfully so, by this horrible person. And it's like, and Steven's like, I can't believe my mom would do that to you. And then it's like, wait, no, I totally believe my mom would do that to you. And it's like, okay, I'm glad you addressed that, but you've never ever shown this kind of contempt for your mom before. Like, ever. Like, do something with it. Explain why you genuinely don't like her. Explain that your mom isn't a good person to her. Explain that just because this one person made you feel terrible doesn't mean other people can't make you feel better. Or something. I also really like how Spinel explains how it's going to be really hard for her to love again or to feel good or be friends with anyone ever again because of how hurt she is by Steven's mom's actions, because she's such a huge cunt, like I said earlier. Like, she's such a huge, unbelievable cunt. I hope she's fucking burning in hell right now. This stupid fucking cunt. I hope she's fucking dead forever. She is dead. I'm so happy she's dead and out of everyone's lives. Great. Fucking great. Anyway, but, like, and then immediately, okay, spoilers for the very end. The stupidest song comes up where the diamonds all sing it to Spinel. Spandle. Socks and spandles. She sings it to them. She sings it to the diamonds sing to Spinel, and it's all about how they remind her so much of her. She reminds them so much of her. I'm sorry, I'm really bad with my fucking pronouns and shit. I'm so scatterbrained. And it's just so stupid. Like, it's like, so obviously this person is not a good person. We have established that in this movie so far. We have seen them do some terrible shit in this movie, and then Steven explains how he doesn't like her and understands why this terrible person would do this. And now we're going to sing about how great she is. We're going to sing about how you remind us of her. Wouldn't that be a really mean thing to do? Hey, I'm really glad your ex-boyfriend broke up with you. Like, I'm so glad, it's like, I'm so glad my ex-boyfriend broke up with me. I'm really happy that, I'm free from that terrible thing. And then some other guy shows up. It's like, hey, you remind me of your ex-boyfriend. That's awesome. I'm going to date you now. It's like, what the fuck? Like, wouldn't that be fucked up? You remind me a lot of your abusive parents. How fucking miserable. You remind me a lot of your fucking owner, you fucking animal. Wouldn't that make you fucking absolutely irate? But no, she just goes along with it. And again, Rebecca Sugar has such a hard time committing to the drama that comes with being emotionally scarred. Like, she doesn't get it. Like, an emotional scar for her is like wearing a weird is like wearing an ugly holiday sweater. You can just take it off whenever you want and go back to living a normal, healthy life with normal, healthy people. It's like, no, Rebecca, honey, just sit down and tell a story where the characters stay consistent. It's so much better. It's just so much better. Please, just please do that. So yeah, I hate rose quartz, and the diamonds sing this terrible song to this poor, scarred soul, and they just replace Pink Diamond. And that opens up a weird thing too. Like, the way Rebecca Sugar wrote that is she's trying to pin it on the diamonds for being bad parents. Like, that's fine, but they were never like this to Rose Quartz. Pink Diamond, I don't care. It's the same fucking person, apparently. That was such a stupid twist. Like, it was so weird because in all the flashbacks, they never show these people being parents to Pink Diamond. And now all of a sudden, they have this creature in their life that resembles Pink Diamond. And it's just like, let's take them and spoil them like we did our spoiled little brat. Little brat of a... No. She was an adult who made dumb decisions. She is responsible for her own fucking bad decisions. She is a bad person because of her actions, not because of what her fake parents did to her. It's implied that that's what it is, and it's so fucking stupid. It's like, just admit that this person is a bad person and just move on. Acknowledge that the person is bad and move on. It's like when someone makes a bad movie, or like a director makes a bad movie and they're just like, no, you see, it wasn't that it was a bad movie. It's that it's a really good movie. You see, it's like, you see, I'm a really good director because there's this really good part in the movie that was, you see, it's a really good movie, you see. No, just admit that the person is bad and move on. Whether it's because you wrote her bad or because she is bad, I don't care. Just give me closure on this thing, okay? Oh my god. I'm actually, like, out of breath and, like, dizzy from talking about this movie for so long. Oh my god. So, it's like, that's one of my biggest gripes with the movie, is that it just really doesn't elaborate on the trauma that any of the characters ever feel. And, like, it just feels so... It's just a really long episode of the show. And it really feels that way. It just doesn't... It's just... Oh my god. Why was it supposed to be a musical? Why is it a musical? The music in Steven Universe is never stellar. The covers of the music are stellar because the people who sing them are actually talented singers. The problem is that Rebecca Sugar casted a bunch of diverse people who are good at voice acting, not singing. And as a result, you get a bunch of songs that are not very good. The last song that, like, Garnet sings is so need I remind you guys of the songs, like, even, I don't even think the theme song is very catchy. Like, it's so flat and bland, and it's just got no melody to it. It's just like, we are the crystal gems, we'll always save the day, and if you think we can't, like, if you just sped it up a bit, it would be a little bit more catchy. But it's just not. It's like this drab ukulele song. It's just so lame. And, yeah, so the music in the movie is not very good. It's a very indicative song, this very obvious song that Rebecca Sugar probably wrote herself, where Garnet sings a song at the very end, and it's just so obvious that this is just so classic Steven Universe song. So it's the truth, it's the truth, it's the truth, it's the truth. Like it's just like that's what we do. It's like yeah, just take the last note of a song and just stretch it out. That's what we do in Steven Universe. That's Steven Universe songs right there. That's what we do. We sing some fluff and then we go ooh. It was the same thing with her fucking debut song. Love, it's love is stronger than you. Like it's so bad. I don't know if maybe it's because that actress just can't really sing very well, but it's like that happens every single time. And I like that song. Go ahead and try to hit me if you're able. To my stable relation, and I'll kick you under the table because I've got a big fat thing. That I don't know. Anyway, I like that song because it's like it's part of the story. It's a It's like it's happening while the fight's going on. So it's not the only thing you're looking at. The thing about it being a musical is like, okay, so there's a rule with every musical, and it's that the music is never addressed as music. It's just happening naturally. In Hairspray, nobody stops and says, wow, what a musical. This music is so musical. This music doesn't sound as good as the music before the other music. No, nobody addresses it. Nobody talks about it. The music is happening with things that are interesting, like things that are happening, like in order to get someone somewhere, or singing about two people caring about each other or something, or whatever. In Steven Universe, not only is none of the music very catchy, like I'm saying in the movie too, the movie does not have catchy music. The one that I would say is the fucking electro swing one with Spinal. Yeah, I'm just gonna call her Spinal. But all the others are just so not interesting. Like they're not interesting songs. Like they don't sound good. The song where Garnet fuses again for the first time, so Rebecca Sugar can have this scene where it doesn't make any sense, and two of the exact same Garnets are dancing with each other, like they're taking their first steps in ballet. Like it's just so like indicative of the kind of writing that Rebecca is interested in. She wants to write scenarios around seeing her favorite characters re-experience the world again, because she wants that moment that every fan fiction writer wants, where the self-insert character introduces them to all the things they like. It's like, I bet there's an Undertale fan fiction that's like that. I accidentally hit the reset button, and now everybody doesn't remember me. I have to do my best to try and remind them of all the special times we had together. Me, the lonely main character. I mean Frisk. Yes, me, Frisk. Yes. Yes. No, it's so bad. Like, Rebecca is clearly her own biggest fan. Like, she's writing these movies, she's writing these shows and movies and character interactions, not for the fans, but for herself. Because she just loves, like, just jerking herself off all the time. I'm such a great... Oh, look, now Steven is going to do the special secret handshake that has never existed ever before with Amethyst. Oh, and now she's going to go through... She's back, and now they get to talk about Spinel again. Oh, it's so great. Oh, it's so great. I'm so smart. Oh, Steven gets to protect Garnet, which is actually me protecting Garnet. Oh, Pearl is now the servant of Greg. Isn't that silly? Because they actually had, like, she says she's the boss in the earlier episode, in the earlier part of the show, and now Greg said you're the boss, and now she's being his Pearl. Oh, now he's the boss. I'm so clever. Oh, that's so clever. It's so great. It's like, no, it's so cheap and cheesy and stupid. Because, like, in a movie, you have to establish these things well. You either need to establish them to begin with and have them be, oh, look, Pearl poofs a toot and toots a little bit and pronounces, Greg Universe. It's just so funny and silly and goofy. Oh, I'm so smart. No, it's so dumb and lazy. Like, in a movie, you have to establish these kinds of things right from the get-go. And you have to, like, keep those characters together long enough for them to feel the impact. But, like, it never comes down to that with Rebecca's writing. She shoehorns it in at the beginning of every episode or at the end of the last episode, so it feels like it's consistent. Or she dots them throughout the series so that they can dumb fans can make the argument, look, no, it was made up from the very beginning. It's very obvious that it's very, very clear that Rebecca sowed the seeds for this part of the story very early in the story, very early. Like, no. I'm almost 100% convinced she had a base understanding of what the show was going to be, and then she just, like, slowly but surely just started making things up as she went along. And it's like, that's fine, but it's just not very interesting. Like, it doesn't, like, it's just, ugh. Okay, so I'm gonna try and keep this one short. Because this is, okay, so I'm gonna give myself, like, another 15 minutes. Is there anything I haven't talked about? The cinematography is really bland. I am a big stickler for cartoons with good cinematography and movies with good cinematography. And if you have a movie, you have to use the cinematography to your advantage. And it's just so rare. It's just all of these are just flat, boring shots, most of them. Anything that isn't a fight scene is framed in such a boring and uninteresting way. All of the shots with Spoon are all actually shot pretty well when she's telling her backstory, kind of. Except it's still very similar. But no, for the most part, it feels very Cartoon Network budget movie. Like, it doesn't feel like, and you can do a lot with a low budget. I'm working on something right now, and I've got no budget. So I don't want to hear that excuse. But I will say that there are a lot. She has so many resources, and to make something so simplistic in both its execution and its storytelling is just really just not. I just don't. I'm just not falling for it anymore. She introduces every single villain and new character like this. Oh, they're the biggest, scariest, most unstoppable force that has ever existed, and the crystal gems can't stop them. And then all of a sudden, Steven makes them cry, and we are exposed to their long, sad backstory. And oh no, now it's, oh my god. Now she cries, and now we're best friends forever. Like, Rebecca doesn't understand how to implement these characters to make them feel like they were organically introduced to a part of the world. So what she does is she just throws them in there and says, it's fine, the fans will figure it out. Like, Spinell's design doesn't look at all like any other gem's design. And I understand that not all the gems have a lot of consistency in their design. But you've gotta, like, I'm convinced that Rebecca Sugar, I said this in my original review too, she just woke up one day and just said, I'm gonna make a movie. I'm gonna make a movie. And she just made it. And it doesn't fit with the continuity of the universe. It doesn't fit with anything. Nobody in town noticed this giant drill. Spinal doesn't look anything like any other gem. She just looks like a rubber hose cartoon character. And I appreciate that. Like, it's fun, but when she doesn't look like that, she looks like Jenny the Teenage Robot. She ripped off of two different cartoon characters at the same time. She ripped off two characters at the exact same time. I don't know how that's possible, and she's getting praised for it. I'm not gonna praise her for stealing an idea. She didn't steal, I think it's a bit silly to say she stole the design for Jenny the Teenage Robot, but it's almost bit for bit. She's got big boots, she's got a wide rectangular middle section, she's got big hands, she's got big hands, she's got the little pigtails, she's got like the little bump in her cheek. I know a lot of cartoons characters have that. And then when she's like her little joyful self, she's like her little hearts react just like Mickey Mouse's ears. She does the little she does like little vaudeville acts. She bounces when she walks. It's just very indicative of the kind that she wears gloves, she wears boots, she wears pants. She's just Mickey Mouse. Like, I'm not going to give this movie credit for appealing to an art style that I already love just because she just ripped it off one day. She was like, we need a goofy character. How's about we just make that character the character? There we go. That's fun. How's about I just make my own version of Mickey Mouse? This is what this is like what my sketchbook in high school looked like. It was filled with nonsensical characters that never fit into any kind of established norm, and all the villains were super evil, but they were also really nice and hung out with people. In this day and age, I don't mind redeemable villains, but my question is always this when it comes to Steven Universe. Why are the villains so fucking evil? Why are they always hell-bent on hurting everyone, or a planet, or killing everyone? Why are they always guilty of such horrible things? The Diamonds are horrible mass murderers. They are not cold, calculating villains. They shot a beam of light that obliterated everything on the surface of the earth. And they never went down to check up on it. And then they put a ball of dead gems in the earth so that it would burst out and create the ultimate bioweapon and kill everything in sight. Destroy the planet, destroy every ecosystem it ever housed, and just kill a bunch of gems. And they were going to use it to destroy other planets. These people are monsters. Why are we friends with them? Why is it okay that they never apologize for what they've done? They never make amends. I said please and thank you. That was a line from White Diamond. I said please, and I've started saying please and thank you to lower life forms. This isn't redemption for this character. Redemption has to be earned. A character has to be earned a second chance. And I don't care that this is a world filled with pacifists. Explain to me what it means to be a pacifist in a world filled with all of these evil monsters. Is it even a good idea to be a pacifist when your enemy would literally have crushed you if you didn't have Pink Diamond's gem? Think about that. The only reason Steven got a second chance with the diamonds was because he was technically a diamond. If he hadn't been one of them, every single one of his friends and family would be dead. His planet would be destroyed, and everything he knows would have been demolished. And he's just like, okay, let's make friends with them. That's not a good idea. A redeemable villain needs to be given a motivation that's just based on like, oh, they're power hungry. So they're like, okay, let's just like, yeah, like, oh, I just wanted a lollipop or something, so I stole it. You give them a second chance. Oh, I lied and I stole the Krabby Patty secret formula so that I could fucking become president of the United States. Okay, well, I'm really sorry. I apologize, and I'll never do it again. Okay, well, that's fair. That's fair. You know, you said you're sorry. You've clearly learned your lesson. Like, they need to earn it. Not through being horrible monsters and being told by the main character that it's okay. Like, they need to be doing something that isn't nearly as horrible as mass genocide. Spinel was actually a pretty good example. Like, what she did was very extreme, and I wouldn't consider it a very good idea. And again, it's never explained where she gets that drill or that poison, or how the poison doesn't kill the planet. It's just so stupid. Like, But she was a much closer comparison. She had never, up until that point, actually killed someone. If she had just shown up and just tried to beat the shit out of the gems, which I think would have been a better solution, I would have been much happier about that, because then it would have been Steven saying, I know you physically harmed me, but I still forgive you. And that would have been a nice opening. And again, he never really says that. He doesn't really do much with that. Like, there are some things that need to be shown and not told. Other things need to be told and not shown. Saying you're sorry to someone is a big deal. You can't just show that you're saying you're sorry. You have to say you're sorry so that it means something. And then you have to explain, and then you have to show yourself being sorry. I think if I really was to gauge it, I think in all due fairness, I think now that I've actually thought about it, I think I really probably would give it probably a 3 out of 10, because all the things I don't like about it are all the same things that I just straight up don't like in general, like with any story. Like, it doesn't go the extra mile to make the scenes with Spinell a better. Like, they don't try to evaluate what it means to be abused by someone that is both your mom and a figurehead of the society. So it just falls flat, and then they just start singing about her later anyway. So, like, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like I learned anything. Every movie at the end of it has a moral message, or some message that it was trying to explain from the get-go. And for everyone's going to say, oh, well, it was about happily ever afters. It was about happy endings, and how you'll never get one. Well, that's stupid, because Steven gets his happy ending. Until Rebecca wakes up the next morning, like next week, and says, oh my god, I have another idea. I'm going to make a gem that looks like Daffy Duck. And that's going to be the next big thing. Yeah, that's going to be it. That's going to be great. Everyone's going to love that. So it's like, no, Steven did get his happy ending. And if you're going to argue that it's about happy endings, well, that's not true either, because there's a big line where Steven says, there is no such thing as a happy ending. I'll always have more work to do. And it's, yeah, I don't feel bad about you having work to do. You're the ambassador of peace. There's a really awesome, like, web comic about Undertale, featuring Undertale characters, and it's about after the monsters come back to the surface, and it's really empowering, because they talk about Chris or Frisk as if, sorry, I love Deltarune, and the main character's name is Chris. Sorry. And they talk about Frisk as though they are the ambassador of peace in the galaxy, or like in the universe, in their universe. And it's like, this was the kid that was super important to the story, because they're the ones that advocate and vouch for the monsters. And that's such a cool idea, that you played as a character who made such a big difference in the world, that now they are the ambassador of peace amongst monsters and humans. And it's really cool. The thing that makes that a cool idea is not that it's just mentioned, it's the fact that it's taking place. The character is constantly being pulled between their responsibilities and the people's understanding of them. It's Frisk, the ambassador of peace. Oh, you're responsible for bringing these dumbass monsters to this place. I hate you, you stupid idiot. It's like, I guess my work is never done. I thought I'd go home and take a nap and everything would be fine in the morning. But no, it's like, Steven has this, like, thing where it's just like, oh, I'm going to have a happy ending. Like, it's so stupid. Like, people, I just watched a review where someone considered this to be like a Disney, like a classic Disney movie. Like, are you guys, come on! Are you serious? This movie where 90% of it is fluff, and the other 10%, like, this movie where 90% of it is fluff and bad musical numbers, is a Disney movie? Is like a Disney classic? Like, you guys are crazy. You guys are insane. It's just because it opens up with a book opening up. It's just like, oh yeah, yeah, it's just gotta be oh, it reminds me so much of Disney. It's totally not like Rebecca Sugar is trying to plant, is trying to bait you with nostalgia. Like, it's just like, yeah, no, it couldn't possibly be that. It couldn't possibly be that Rebecca Sugar carefully crafted this silly experience around classic Disney material so that you could immediately associate them with a big brand name like Disney. No. And I know that's a very cynical way of looking at it. But why would this musical open up with a book opening up? Not only is that incredibly cliche, but this is like they live in like the weird future. Why would there be books in the Diamonds universe? Wasn't it that they were reading it to him? Like, wasn't that they were reading the Diamonds were reading about this book? Why would they have a book? They'd have it on like a computer screen, like one of those weird hollow screens. They'd have it on their phone or something. It's just it just doesn't make any sense. It feels like it was thrown in there because other movies do it, and Rebecca Sugar clearly wants this to feel like an actual movie. So she was just like, okay, I'll put it in there. It doesn't matter if it doesn't thematically make sense with the rest of the movie. It looks cool, but it's just not... Like, nothing else in the series has ever made you think it's a story being told or a storybook. Going back to Deltarune and Undertale, the thing that makes all of those games so much fun is the same thing that they try to do with Rebecca Sugar tries to do with her characters. In Deltarune and Undertale, you get these simplistic characters that have all of these humanizing traits to them. They're like people. They're more like people than people are. But the problem is that Rebecca Sugar tries to do this, but she's not consistent with any of it. Sans, for example. Sans is the most powerful creature in the underworld or whatever, in the underland, Underland, but he's also like a goofy guy. For every one trait that these guys have, they have an equal except opposite trait that is used to perpetuate their personality. Sans is a super dark, gritty, dark, omnipotent superpower. However, he is also a comic guy. Like, he's a comedic guy. He's a fat, tubby skeleton wearing slippers. Papyrus is the tall, lanky one who is very serious about becoming a royal guard. But he's also doesn't have, forgive the pun, a mean-spirited bone in his body. He's also a goofy little brother character. He's such a nice guy. He couldn't possibly hurt someone. It's not possible. Undyne is this evil fish lady, is this crazy fish warrior, but she's also like this lackadaisical, like, stay-at-home mom character. Like, they all have... Like, Alphys is a scientist, but she's also a huge anime nerd. Like, it's self-aware, but it's very indicative of how funny these opposites make these characters. And as a result, you can make a lot of jokes and ideas based on those characters. Steven Universe tries to do the same kind of thing, but Rebecca doesn't know how to keep, those aspects of their characters simplistic, and she doesn't know how to make opposites. Amethyst is one of my favorite characters, or at least was, kinda. She's the big, goofy, big sister character. She's supposed to make you feel like you can lean on her, and she's a goofball, and she's fun, and she's lovable, and she's just this big, big, lovable piece of pudge. She's just so great, and everyone loves her. But the problem is, she's also got these, like, self-worth issues that don't really match with the personal, like, problems that she has. Like, they don't counter her goofy personality. She's just kind of like the comic relief character. She's always laughing and being rude and unruly. Pearl is, like... Yeah... Pearl is a fucking mess. Garnet's the cool one, but like she doesn't have any counter, like she's trying too hard to be cool. Like Rebecca wants Garnet to be cool again, like she was in the first couple of seasons, but that was because she had never come across someone who was ever. But then she humanized her with all of these stupid flaws. Like that was kind of what made Garnet cool, was she was in charge of this ragtag team of idiots, and it's like, it's just, ugh. I don't know. I'm not saying Steven Universe has to be like Undertale, but I am saying that Steven Universe tries so hard to make these characters like the characters in Steven Universe or in Undertale. They're super simplistic and easy to write, but you keep fucking up their writing by being inconsistent and not paying attention to what the trauma that they're going through, how it actually affects them. I guess I went over the hour mark, but yeah, I realistically, I really couldn't give this movie more than a 3 out of 10. It does a little bit better than the show, but the show was really not very good as of late. Like the last couple episodes, like the last couple seasons fucking sucked. And it just really doesn't do much for me. I'm glad other people like this. I really am. And I'm so happy people enjoy this film. But for me, it's just like, oh my god, I couldn't stomach it. It was just, I had to skip most of the songs because I realized that they were just so poorly written. I just got so tired of them. But I guess that's all I have to say on the matter. I guess I can call it there. Yeah, what did you think of the movie? In fact, I probably already know what most of you think of the movie. But regardless, it's very. I think other people's opinions are some of the most interesting things in the world. So please go ahead and tell me what you guys thought of the film, or if you agree with anything I said here today, or if anything. Go ahead and write whatever you want. I don't mind, negative or positive. Go fucking come to my house and slit my throat. I don't care. Because again, this opinion is mine, and it should not and in any way dictate how you guys feel about this project. If you like it, that's great. But other than that, I'll let you guys go. All right. Have a nice day, everyone, and thanks for tuning in.